Hi, it's Bumble here, David Lloyd. talkSPORT have teamed up with Reddit for this Ask Me Anything special edition. You've been sending your questions in, let's get on with it. Oh, has it changed? Covered pitches for a start. I played on uncovered and it was lethal. So now it'd be a bit more plain sailing. Let's say I'll go for 20. That'd be nice. Ooh, that would be Don Shepherd. The best county cricketer never to play for England would be Don Shepherd at Glamorgan. He got 200 plus wickets and he was like a cutter. He bowled cutters, very tall, again on uncovered pitches, and his average was less than 20, a brilliant bowler. Yeah, South Africa captain declared on 370 something. Brian Lara's record was in danger and he pulled out. And, I think I would have done the same. I think it's the right thing to do. We've debated it, a number of us, Alistair Cook and Michael Vaughan, and they said, interestingly, they'd have gone to 380 plus to come second. I thought that were interesting. I think the year is 1960. It's Australia versus the West Indies, and it's the tied test, the test match which was tied. And Wesley Hall was the bowler for the West Indies, and I think it's Joe Solomon, who was a middle order batter, affected the run out. That was, when you watch it, you've got to watch it and see it through. It'd be fabulous to commentate on that. There are great moments in cricket that are still talked about. And you go back to Bodyline, Australia versus England and Douglas Jardine, and the controversy that it caused. That would have been fabulous to have a view, to just have a view on that from a commentary position as to is it right, is it wrong, and the furore that happened after it. I mean, we'll still talk about it now, Bodyline. The best England player right now is Joe Root, and will he pass Sachin Tendulkar in the next 2 or 3 years? He probably will, as the all-time run scorer. On his heels is Harry Brook, who's younger, and he might do exactly the same if he has that same longevity as Joe Root. As a bowler, they've just retired actually, the two, and they quick bowlers tend to work as a pair, and that would be Broad and Anderson. I see Anderson quite regularly for Lancashire, and he's still bowling as well as ever. So from an England perspective now, they're looking to get a nucleus of bowlers together, and you're always looking to get plenty of quick bowlers because they break down. And so if you're a quick bowler in England, it's quite exciting. And they tend to be big, strapping lads, except for Mark Wood, who's quite slight. 5'11", 6 foot maybe, just scraping, rapid. But they get injured. It's the nature of the beast that they get injured. The one that I like, who is just on the fringe, is a lad called Pennington, Dylan Pennington. And I've watched him bowl against Yorkshire and rapid, but again, he has to stay fit. I think that there's got to be a cut-off point when a player retires, and in Jimmy Anderson's case, he was retired, and it transpires that there was a meeting where they said, Jimmy, that's the end, which upset him, and many people thought he was good enough to play Test match cricket, me included. I thought he was good enough to play. Now, they make a call, the people in charge, McCullum especially, and Rob Key, probably Ben Stokes, the big three, that moving forward we need to look at this nucleus of younger fast bowlers, because Jimmy's not going to be around, and I think that call would be that they didn't think Anderson would be around for the Ashes. So let's look at bowlers in the India series prior to going on the Ashes, but I can tell you it hurt Jimmy. I would have played him, and quite simply, what's the best team? Is Anderson in the best team? In my opinion, yes, he is. And I would play him until he wasn't in the best team. And that call might have come when you go to Australia. But, you know, it's you and I are not making that call. That's why they get paid the big bucks. They've made a call. And the call was that we need to look at these other younger quick bowlers to see where we're going. Well, the 100 is now the UK's franchise. Each other cricket playing country has got a franchise, so the 100 is England's franchise going forward. They've still not got the money yet, but we're told that it's imminent. I'm absolutely convinced that it will revert to T20. It will go into, instead of 100 deliveries, it will become a T20 franchise competition in line with everywhere else in the world, you know, particularly in the Caribbean and in India and in South Africa, the UK. The independent one just at the minute is the Big Bash in Australia. Whether that comes under a franchise umbrella, we'll wait and see. And can it coexist with the T20 Blast? It's just a personal view that I think the Blast is a fabulous competition, but it seems to have been downgraded behind the 100. And I'm just reading today that they're going to revamp and revitalise the Blast. That is the governing body, the ECB, to revitalise the Blast. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. Another thing that may happen is that I think we've got 8 teams now. That will increase. Will it increase to 12 teams? There is plenty of willing participants. You think of Chelmsford and you can think of Durham. They're 2 straight away to increase and to bring more revenue into the game and to make it a bigger competition. Steve Smith versus Sachin, to me, is a mismatch. Sachin every time. There's another which I would put in there above the 2 of them that have been mentioned. In my opinion, Brian Lara. I'd have Lara above the 2 of them. And it's unfair when you see great players and you try to categorise who's first, second, third. I'd tend not to do that. They are great players. My own preference is for Brian Lara. Joe Root is right up there as well. Joe Root, as we mentioned, will probably pass Sachin Tendulkar's Test match record, 15,000 plus runs. So he'd be up there as well. My best England player that I've seen, I'm not going, because I haven't seen Wally Hammond and I didn't see Len Hutton and people before I started, my best player would be Kevin Peterson. I don't know Kevin Peterson at all, but when I worked and commentated, he was the one player that I would get on the edge of my seat, and he could do things that other batters couldn't. So Jasprit Bumrah is at 90 mile an hour consistently, 90 plus. So how does he compare to the great West Indies quartet? He compares favourably, and same pace, tall, at you all the time. And so, you know, he would have got into that quartet probably. But you've got to remember that quartet that we can talk about, and let's see if we can. Andy Roberts, Malcolm Marshall, Michael Holding, Joel Garner. You talk about that 4. You think of all the others, Sylvester Clarke, Wayne Daniel, Ezra Mosley, Colin Croft. They're not in that quartet, but they all played a bit. And so Bumrah would be next in line for the quartet, in my opinion. Bumrah's skill set is the same. When you're up against that quality of bowling, the West Indies quartet, number 1, it's unbelievably important, pace. Pace disturbs the best. And tall pace, so pace and hitting the pitch hard and getting bounce, So Bumrah's got all that. He hits the pitch, skillful, like as skillful as the real skillful one in the quartet was Malcolm Marshall. But if you ask Michael Holding, he'll say the daddy of the skill set was Andy Roberts. You ask Michael Holding, he would say Andy Roberts was the daddy, with his thoughtful, fast bowling and being able to change a bit of pace and change grips and use the crease close to the umpire wide. And so that's interesting that Holding would say Roberts, whereas the rest of us would probably say Marshall. The roller spinners in Test match cricket going forward, worth the weight in gold are the unorthodox spinners, and that's gone quiet, hasn't it? We're not seeing the Muralitharans, the Sakleen Mushtaqs, the Harbhajan Singhs. We're not seeing that class of bowler. I think we're waiting for another Shane Warne, you know, a fantastic leg spinner, hard spun. So Shane Warne spun it, he ripped it. And so it didn't really matter what pitch. You mentioned flat pitches. If you're ripping it like Shane Warne, and you've got to Google it and one out of the front of the hand, and you can control it all, we're not seeing that type of bowler. So we in the UK, we're clamouring for a spinner. We're looking all over the place. And the young kid who I've seen, I watch a lot of county cricket, is a young lad called Rian Ahmed, who is a fabulous batter and he bowls leg spin, but he's only a kid. And so he's learning that trade. But it's gone quiet worldwide. We're not seeing that mystery spinner who can bamboozle the very best batters. Best player I've played with would be up at Lancashire when I was a player up there, Clive Lloyd, captain of the West Indies, was fantastic. A bit of fun to play with. Was the other overseas player at the time was Farouk Engineer. It was great fun to play with. And the best bowler that I've played with, Michael Holding, which was briefly, I think he only played about 7 times for Lancashire, and then he went and played and had a decent career for Derbyshire. But you know, that was different gravy when Michael Holding played them 7 matches. We'd never seen pace like that. And Clive played for a career at Lancashire. He parked the furniture. Yeah, Lancashire in the county championship, they last won it in 2011. Now, where did they play the matches? They played all the matches at Liverpool because the ground was being turned round, and so it had to settle. So the pitch that we play on now at Old Trafford is an absolute test match pitch. So we're trying to play 4-day cricket on a 5-day pitch. Now, unless you've got searing pace and wrist spin, we just get draws. And it's sort of holding the team back. When you see other games in the county championship which are finishing in 2 and 3 days, never happens at Old Trafford. At Emirates Old Trafford, it'll go the distance, and it's a slog. It's a slog for the bowlers because, you know, we don't have that searing pace and wrist spin. Well, I really wouldn't want to. The bowler I wouldn't want to face would be Jofra Archer or Jasprit Bumrah, or anybody above 80 miles an hour, to be honest. Who would I like to face? I'd quite like to face a left-arm orthodox spinner, because I thought when I was playing, it's like Christmas, playing a left-arm orthodox spinner. I don't care who they are. You know, a nice little finger spinner coming in, just pitching and coming into you. You knock him over there, knock him over his head, so knock him down there. Yeah, I don't care who he is, as long as he bowls that, but nothing above 80 miles an hour. Favourite moment on commentary would be 2. I was commentating with Ravi Shastri in South Africa when Yuvraj Singh hit Stuart Broad for 6 sixes. That was good fun. Not for Stuart. Wasn't great fun for Stuart. He looked visibly shocked. And also, the Ben Stokes bowling to remember the name, and I was commentating with Ian Bishop, and I was supposed to be lead commentator. You could see what's happening here. He's going the distance, and so I just put my microphone down and I said, "Bish, over to you." So he did the lead, and that's one of the great lines. You know, when you're part of that, remember the name, Carlos Brathwaite. Yeah. Best mate in the cricket world, Paul Allott. Sadly, Bob Willis passed away, and we were like the three geezers from the Last of the Summer Wine. That were us. Last of the Summer Wine, the three of us. We should have done the stuff that we got up to. We should have done a documentary. We should have done. We went on a steam train journey of North Wales on these little steam trains up mountains and so on. Fabulous. At 2, craziest experiences on tour, both as a commentator. When the producer has this great idea, usually when drink's been taken, he decides that wouldn't it be great if you, me, go into a shark cage and see some sharks come round you. I said, I've got a better idea, why don't you do it? But anyway, I went in this shark cage, and something, and the clue's in the name, Shark Island, off Adelaide, I think it was. And true to form, in he came. I didn't know this cage has got a gap like that. He's stand at the back, and he comes in. He goes, woof, like that. Hello, yeah. What do I do? Stroke it now. And the other one was in Galle, in Sri Lanka. Same producer, got a great idea. Just on the fort at the top there's a fellow with a 10-foot python. He said, you put it round your neck and do the pitch report. Absolutely not. There's no way I would have done that. I am absolutely petrified of them venomous things. Yeah, I'm glad we don't have them in the UK. Favourite commentator to commentate with? Numerous. You know, you've got to get a rapport with who you're with. There's like a dynamic. When you get down to the business, you've got the game, you've got your monitor, you've got your mic. You just know when you're bouncing off, and it was all fine. So, you know, you've got your Gowers, Ian Ward, Ian Botham, Michael Holding, Bob Willis, Paul Allott, Michael Allerton, Nasser Hussain, Mel Jones, Shane Warne. You know, we sort of knew what we were doing. We were pretty clued up. I also worked on Channel 9, and that was vintage. So a bit of Richie Beno, a bit of Bill Lorry, Tony Gregg, fantastic. Ian Healy, Mark Taylor, Ravi Shastri is fabulous to work with, Simon Dewell, Ian Smith. So it's when you get in your seat, which is your best seat in the house, it usually is, you're behind the bowler's arm, elevated, bit of aircon, and you're ready to rock. And you've got all these people around you, you know, we're on it. You get it, it's difficult to explain that you get in a zone. You're just in a zone, you know. It's like rock and roll. It is. It's like being part of the Rolling Stones or the Oasis. Yeah. And Akash, Siraj and Bumrah will play in this Lord's Test match, and that is a big threesome. The interesting stat is that India win more without Bumrah, which is a ridiculous stat. And so, with a young captain like Shubman Gill, he's obviously got to accommodate his kingpin. His bit of stardust is Bumrah. But he can't neglect the other two. You can't give the impression that the other two are just supporting acts. They've got to have it sort of built into them by the management, by the coach, by the captain. You're here to take wickets, and not just the other guy at the other end. And that helps Bumrah as well, because Bumrah then knows he's got a mate, he's got a potent force at the other end, and the worst thing you can ever hear, and I've heard it in dressing room, if he can keep an end up. No, he's there. If you're bowling, you're there to take wickets, and they've got to convey that to Akashdeep and to Siraj. Alistair Cook or Ben Duckett as an opening batter, two totally different batters. Now, I'm doing some work with a podcast with Alistair Cook, and I think he was a fabulous player. Exactly what you need as an opening batter, a grinder who, you know, he's going to blunt the attack. I think if Alistair Cook, and Ben Stokes has said we don't want an Alistair Cook style batter in our lineup. Yes, you do, because the rest can play around him. And so I would like to, I'm dodging the question, I'd like to see Alistair Cook bat with Ben Duckett, because he'd take the weight off the pair of them. Duckett would score. Cook would give him the strike and he'd be intact. Rather than high risk at both ends, tighten it up at one end and he'll score freely, Duckett. I'm not going to say he's better than him, because Alistair Cook's got 12,000 test match runs. Duckett don't leave the ball and he fits this Bazball era. But in my opinion, there is definitely place for a Strauss or a Vaughan or a Cook to tick it along. Just tick it along and keep one end tight, because it'd give Duckett the strike. Well, ducks are ferocious, and I'm a lover, not a fighter. If there's any fighting to be done, I can pick a phone up and say, get yourself down here, I've got a little job for you. Yes. Start the tuk-tuk is obviously what you'd use in India. And I like a ride in a tuk-tuk, it's an adventure. Start the car, I have to say I've pinched it. It was a comedian, and it was Mick Miller, who was a Blackpool comedian. And at the end of his stint, he'd look at his watch. He said, he used to say something like, right, that's me done, start the car. And so I've actually pinched it. Well, thanks for your questions, Reddit. Be sure to check out your cricket subreddit for all your cricket news. And don't forget to subscribe to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel as well. Start the car.